Not long after the planes hit the World Trade Center, Channel 3 dispatched multiple crews to New York City to cover what became one of the most important news stories in modern history. Among those sent to Ground Zero were engineers Frank Discenza and John Discenza. They're both joining me today. They're brothers, and they're here to talk about their experiences at Ground Zero. John is joining us from home. Hi, John.
How are you, Carol?
And Frank is here with me in the studio. I first got to say, the two of you are one of my biggest memories because as brothers, you were working 24 hours a day together out of a satellite truck parked down in Soho with an American flag on the front. And that was our newsroom for the weeks that we were there. It was like, go find the Discenzas and they'll help you get on the air.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. And it was something that, looking back on it, you know, the emotions start all over again. It was rough when we were down there. I remember just the smokes coming out of the rubble and stuff. This was the satellite truck, and that actually was cloth that we found some vendor because we couldn't find flags, and John and I were taping them up on the satellite truck down there at Ground Zero.
Yeah. John, we're showing this picture, and just what were your memories as you look back? What were you feeling and thinking in those days?
Some of the biggest memories I have, Kara, were walking by the fire departments. You know, we were parked down by, I believe it was Houston Street, and walking by the local fire departments, and they were empty. The doors were open. There were no vehicles, no people there. But it reminded me of a funeral home. There was tons and tons of flowers that people had left, and the people were almost in a daze. You know, it was surreal. They would come up to you on the street and asking you if you'd seen, you know, certain people. We had all these missing flyers that they posted all over our satellite truck. It was really surreal is the best word I can come up with. But it was sad, but it was a tough time for everyone. But it galvanized us all, I think, in the end.
And when we talk about the two of you working together as brothers, I mean, this was a time where you just wanted to know where your family was. And even though all of us were working, we were constantly checking in on people, or your mom was calling you to make sure you're okay. The two of you did this together, and I know you have such a strong family as it was, but what was that like being as brothers together down there?
Well, I mean, it was you know, it was special in terms of that, but I remember my daughter was born in 2001. And talking to my wife, and I had been away for a while, and she wanted to come down and visit me, and I said, do not come down here and do not bring that baby down here, please. I said, because we don't know what we're breathing, and it's kind of chaotic, you know, too. But having John there, it's, you know, we can work well together because we grew up together. So we can almost finish each other's sentences.
It's like a sitcom. Yeah, I wish people could see it.
You know, so we would break down, like, you know, I'll work the morning and the noon, and then I'll come back, I'll go to sleep for a few hours and then come back, and you take over the rest of the thing. So, you know, it was special. And John, when he came down, he actually brought us respirators and certain other things as well, which I remember too. So,
yeah.
We were. We've been doing it for so many years, Carrie. You know, we covered JFK Jr.'s tragic crash, and we covered Flight 800, and it was down to a science. You know, we at one point ran out of diesel fuel. Frank called the local oil company, had them come fill us up. You know, but you know, other than that, the other big things you take away, like we were going 24/7, like we said, 24/7, doing the whole nation, doing the rest of the world, constantly up on the satellite truck. So you didn't have time to really think or do anything. You were an autopilot. And one of my biggest memories was, like I said, after we did a new news shot, I walked into the back of our sat truck, and at that point there was no one in there, and it was the hub of everything. And my emotions took over, and I started crying like a baby. I couldn't help it; it just happened. And one of our reporters, you'll remember Kim Feddick, she walked in the door, instantly saw me, and I tried to hide my face, and she burst out crying. And the two of us, like I said, hugged each other. Probably just for a couple minutes. It felt like forever, but it's just, you had to release the emotions. It was just so surreal there.
Yeah, I think a lot of us remember something like that, where you guys being the tough men that you are, but just at some point it hitting you, and your body takes over, and there's just a letdown of just how much we were grieving too as we were reporting this story. It was such a sad time.
Which, as news professionals, you try to eliminate yourself from the story, but this was kind of hard to do because you got caught up in it, and we were there for so long. You know?
And we were all Americans.
And that's the other thing. You know, there was a sense of pride and just a love of country.
Anger.
everybody was
Anger
united,
too. I mean, walking the ground there.
Yeah. People were clapping each other for the volunteers, the construction guys. I remember people taking their chairs out of their apartments and sitting on the street and cheering and clapping as they went in down towards, ground zero, and they would stay there all day and cheer as they came out. They were just encouraging them on, and it was just something I never thought I would see, especially in New York City.
Mm-hmm. And John, you're still with us. Frank, you've moved on to other pastors, but I always think of you as still an honorary WFSB employee. But as you come up on 20 years, and so much life has happened, children have been born, people have been married. Mm-hmm. But what do you think now as we approach these 20 years? What will you be thinking and doing?
Personally, we got together, I think, about a little less than a year later with a lot of the crew that was down there. And we do the same thing now. I'll contact certain people that were down there. With my kids now, my wife will have a moment of silence, if you will, a somber time, trying to teach my kids about what happened. They know now, and I have a 16 and a 14-year-old, so they know what's happened now. But we'll just take a moment of silence to remember, and that's about it. We'll continue with our day. But it just really was a crazy time back then.
Yeah, we have some more pictures that both of you have provided, and we're going to put them up, and then we can talk about a little bit as what we were seeing. Here's us, I believe, together. You're helping me put my wire on.
Yeah, that was you. I think I was putting your microphone on. I'm behind you, and that's Mike Kopelman, who was your photographer. He looks like he's about to hand you your mic.
And this was the memorial. We saw these kind of pop up everywhere.
Everywhere. These were just, people would just bring candles and mementos and posters, and it was everywhere you would walk, every corner,
And you bring up, in here, this was...
That's me. That was. Remember when they were asking for donations and things were coming in, like the paw protectors for the dogs, and people were sending, water. People didn't know what to do, and they wanted to do something, and they were just sending things in, and that's a National Guard person standing there as well. This was when they made a call for cranes that were further up in the city to come down to help with the rescue efforts at the time. And this was one of the cranes that came down West Broadway. Yeah. This is where we went live that afternoon. And we had a shot of the smoke just coming off of the towers there. That was where we were until, I believe we did 5:30, and 6 from here too, until the desk broke us, and we actually went down to ground zero.
Because at first it was difficult to even get in.
If you remember, people were streaming. There weren't even cars. It was just people pouring out over the bridges and things. And as they were pouring out, we were trying to get in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Incredible view. And here's a bunch of...
Yeah, those are more of the payloaders, the construction stuff that they were bringing in to help move the pile and stuff, as they were looking for individuals and stuff.
There's our crew.
That's our crew, yeah. That's a bunch of us that were down there during that time.
And so many of us have stayed close. And John, I know you're in that picture. You can see it. It is. I think people have used the word surreal, but John, as you look back, it's almost hard to believe that it's been 20 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in some respects, it feels like yesterday. It's just so vivid, some of the memories you have back then. It's hard to believe, like you said, it's 20 years later. And looking at those people that you haven't seen, some of them I haven't seen, Kara, in probably 15 years or so. Chuck Callahan, Kim Fettig, I know she's down in Atlanta. Eric is down in Atlanta too. And, but you see those pictures and we talk about it, and it brings the memories back, and it feels like it was yesterday. It really does. We had an amazing crew, and it was a crazy time. It really was.
Difficult time, but very special. Yes, we will all carry these memories. And Frank, I remember the story, and I'd like you to share it with the viewers. You can remember that you would know when a firefighter had been found because of what would happen at the pile.
Yeah, when I was down at the pile for a little while, and one of the things that struck me was you could tell every time a firefighter or a New York, New Jersey Port Authority officer was found, because everybody would stop the helmets would come off, they would bring an American flag out, they would drape it over the remains, and then they carried it to the Brooks Brothers, which at that time was acting as a temporary morgue. Priest would come out, say a prayer, and in would go the remains. And that's one of the memories that to this day sticks with me, you know.
And those were the lucky families where remains were found, because there were so many who just the city was wallpapered with pictures of missing, hoping that they would find. I want to thank you both, not only for all the amazing work and the amazing time we had working together, but thank you for doing this and sharing your stories. Really special.
Thanks, Kara.
Thank you.